This video shows evidence from the public trial of Natchitoches versus Travis Hines. The purpose for showing this evidence is to discuss the public trial and to monitor the performance of public officials in Natchitoches, specifically law enforcement officers, the judge, and the prosecutor. Each of these officials has sworn an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States. This video is not an expression of any desire for intimidation, harassment, or harm in any way to witnesses in this matter. Viewers, including Natchitoches police officers, are strictly forbidden from using this video to motivate undesired communications with witnesses. Any communications directed toward these public officials must be non-criminal. No personally identifiable information has been included in this video beyond the names that were presented openly, as this video was played openly in a public trial. These names are also stated openly in public trial testimony. No birth dates and no addresses are revealed.
Alright, man. Sorry for the intimidating atmosphere. You're not in any kind of trouble whatsoever. I know we already got your written statement. We just wanted to expand upon it a little bit just to make sure every angle's covered. Make sure everybody's covered all together. That being said, you state your name for me. Again, I'm Detective Perry with the Police Department here. I'm assigned to the CID. Today I'm talking to you about the incident that happened with the arrest of Mr. Travis. It's Hines, I guess is how it's spelled. Hines. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, to be honest. But with that, we've both been getting a lot of follow-up calls and everything like that, so I want to make sure everything's done correctly. If you could just sort of elaborate on, or just start from the beginning of what happened, like when you first came in.
So, I was only working lunch shift Saturday, so he came in during lunch hours. It was, I think, around 12:30ish. He came in through the entrance on the first floor. I was working up on second floor. I didn't know what happened on first floor until after the whole incident. So I just went by what was happening when he came up to second floor. But he came up to the second floor, he came through the stairwell door. And he had two large backpacks, one on his back and one holding down in his hand. They were visibly full of something, and he walked in and I made eye contact and said, "Hi, how are you today?" And which is what I do with everyone that comes in the building, and he just didn't acknowledge me, and he continued on through the building, and he was walking around looking like he was looking for something or looking for a spot. I don't know what he was doing, but it made us uneasy, me and my coworker. And then he went over towards the exit by the DVDs, which is one of our emergency exits, and he kind of touched that door and stuff. And then he came back and went in front of the desk, and then went back over by the stairwell, but he didn't go into the stairwell, and he didn't go up. He just leaned his head in and looked up to like see what was up there. And
open the door?
Well, the door was open.
Okay.
It was open. So he just looked up, and then he came back. And when he turned around, he looked towards me, like to see if I was looking at him. And I asked him, I said, sir, can we help you with something? And he got aggressive. He said, what is it that you think you can help with? And my response to him was, "Sir, I'm just asking if you need help, you know." And my coworker, Carlo, was sitting back. Well, not sitting, he was squatting not far away from the desk, putting up DVDs. And he heard it too, and it kind of shocked him. And then he continued to do what he was doing, like looking around, and he didn't say anything else to me, and he went to the back. And then when he went to the back, I looked at Carlo looked at me, and after he said that, he walked around a little more, and then he came back. And when he came back, he actually went up the stairs. He went back into the stairwell and went up the stairs. And when he went up the stairs, Carlo looked at me because he's back behind the desk at that point, and he said, like, he can't go up there. And I said, no. I said, but it's locked. He can't go up there. He's going to have to come back down. And he was sure he came right back down because he couldn't get in there. And when he came back down, he went straight to the back at that point. And Carlo looked at me and I said, I don't know what he's doing. I said, I'm going to call and have someone come and check him out. I said, I don't know what he's doing, like, but it does make, and Carlos said he was scared too. And so then I went downstairs, out the front door, and I called for my cell phone because I did not want him to hear us calling the police. And when I called, I told them what was going on. I told them that I just wanted somebody to come by and check him out to see if, I said I felt like he was casing the place. That's not words I gave to the dispatch.
Yes,
I felt like he was casing the place. And when I came back in, I asked Carlo, I said, is he still back there? And Carlo said, he's making a lot of noise. He said, there's been a lot of banging. And I said, well, what is he doing? And Carlo said, I don't know. And then I said, well, we need to see what he's doing. Like, we need to see. And I was about to go, and Carlo said, no. He said, you stay here and I'll go check and see. So he went and pretended to shelve items to try and see what he was doing. And all he could tell was that he was unloading his bags, but he couldn't see what he was doing. But all he knew, whatever he was unloading, it was some type of equipment and he was banging it, like knocking it down. So, of course, at that point, the police, I could see them from where the circulation desk is. You can see straight to the back. And there's a big window overlooking the parking lot. And I saw that they were pulling in. So then I told Carlo, I said, I'm going to go downstairs and meet them to kind of give them a heads up of what's going on before they just come in. So I went down there and I met them in the parking lot. And I told, at the time, when I made it out the doors, I saw, which I think was Officer Miller, going around the side of the building to go around the front, I guess. But I did stop Officer Favors and Davis and told them, and they said, okay, well, let's go in and see what's going on. I explained to them, they asked me, did we want him arrested or banned? I said, no. I said, I don't know that he's doing anything. I just feel that y'all presence needs to be in here so he sees you guys, that he knows that y'all came through here. I don't know what's going on. So they went up and they went to the back and talked to me, and we stayed up at our desk. We did not go back there.
Yes, ma'am.
And within minutes, the video shows the rest.
Yeah, that's you. How long have you been working there?
20 years.
20 years? In 20 years, have you ever called on anyone else?
I've had to call before, but in my 20 years working there, I never immediately felt like my safety was, like I never felt scared like we did that day. We both thought he had either a bomb or he was going to shoot up the place. We were truly scared that he was going to do us something.
I understand completely. I saw the video and his mannerisms and stuff. So like, short of like, what I mean by call, I'm not meaning like people not returning things or anything like that, but just suspicious people in the building. This is one of the few, very, very, very few, if not only, times you call the police in regards to feeling scared, you said?
Yes, we've called for other things, but not to this level, no.
Okay. And whenever the police got there, you gave them the same synopsis you gave me, you gave them also. So they had a good idea of what they're going in there for. Are you familiar with what happened up there and why it led to that? Do you understand that? Maybe I can clear some things up for you if you're wondering how the arrest went.
No, I saw the videos.
Yeah, I guess.
And
we all saw them.
I didn't. I mean,
yeah.
He did. He wouldn't answer them.
Yeah. So, it's pretty by the book kind of stuff. Whenever basically whenever a citizen calls and they ask that we check into someone or check into anything per se, and then they give the same descriptors that you gave, that they're acting odd or suspicious, whatever that degree of suspicion may be. That's still in Louisiana, it's what we call reasonable suspicion that they either have committed, about to commit, or actively committing a crime. Whenever that happens, when you're in that reasonable suspicion area, that's when the offender or the suspect, wherever the term may be for them, they have to identify themselves to law enforcement. When he refused to do so, I think 2 or 3 times, that's when he was arrested. So that's how they arrested him, in case you're wondering. So we didn't even really get to finish out the purpose of his actions or anything along those lines. And he didn't want to speak about it either. So, I personally, that's just me, Detective Perry. I think he purposely intended to go in there, set up a film thing, set it up, and bait everybody into exactly what happened. If you watch his channel, he does it all over the place. This is the kind of things he does, and I guess the calls that follow afterwards are things that happen, off camera, and there's things that each place he's gone to, the same thing has arisen. So, if you're getting any kind of actual threats, and if you want to report it, you're more than welcome to. After this interview, you can report the threats. If you understand you're getting threats, at the bare minimum, at least an annoyance of the massive flow of calls. So, understand it's an extremely mentally hard thing to do. Just sit there and take the punishment of call after call. But I wanted to get you coming here and just sort of make sure that we have everything right. There's a big difference between seeing someone's face, like me speaking to you, and seeing the emotions that you're having, as opposed to, a written statement. So it's always better, in my opinion, to have an actual video statement of what happened. And that's why I wanted you in here today. Sort of tell me, and I can see how you felt, and then if it needs to push into the case, I can see how you feel. So if this goes to a jury trial, which potentially could, potentially couldn't, it's just a misdemeanor crime that he committed. However, if that happens, it's best that we know that you truly were afraid. And as you can see, I didn't egg you in on that. I didn't try to get you to come in here and say that. You and Mr. Carlo are having the same feelings. We spoke to him yesterday. So you've been there 20 years, just to recap on everything, you've been there 20 years. So you got a good idea of what the average person coming in there to do does, right? Comparing his actions to the normal person, everyday person, is night and day. It's way different, right? Okay. So that in and of itself raises some red flags for you, right? Okay.
So we have homeless people coming all the time. Yeah. It wasn't anything to do with him being homeless, or it was his actions.
Oh, I understand completely. Checking the exits, his aggressive mannerisms, just all around being a shady fella. I understand why it would put you at ease. I think you should feel completely justified in everything you did. I think you did the right thing on every aspect of what all happened. I'm not sure if you have any regrets. I hope you don't, because I think at the end of the day, you did the right thing. In my opinion, if you wouldn't have called, he would have stirred up some kind of commotion or something different, hence him banging around. I think he would have purposely got into a argument with y'all, with your staff, and coaxed y'all into calling one way or the other. Now, it didn't end up in his favor legally because of the way he did things. I guess maybe he's not familiar with Louisiana law, because if you watch his channel, he's all over the states. It was inevitable. He was going up. It sucks that he picked Natchitoches. It sucks that he picked your library during your shift. At the end of the day, he got what he was going in there for. And he would have done it one way or the other. So don't feel like you've done the wrong thing, or you shouldn't have done what you've done. I think everything you did was correct.
Well, so what I do though with this, these people that are like telling me on the phone that they know where we live now. What do I?
So that's stuff that we have to forward over to my high-tech crime unit guy. If you want to pursue charges, or you want to get to a resolution or something along those lines, after this interview is over, I'll refer you to do another statement form. And you can sort of go along. We can go into pressing charges on that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I assume things will calm down after a while, just like it has in all the other places he's gone to. We're just in the eye of the storm right now. Hopefully, once everything passes and calms down, I have no doubt he'll pick a different place and do the same thing.
I just have family, and I don't want how to go.
I understand. I completely understand. All the things they're telling you, they're forwarding it through to everyone. So they're getting our training division, they're getting our secretaries, they're getting our dispatchers, all these things. I mean, they're just making, in my opinion, making open-ended threats just to stir the pot and try to get him to try to get us to drop the charges. But I think they're just trying to cause as much turmoil as they can. And I think that's just what his following is about. I'll look into it a lot more, but from what I can gather, the other places that he's been to, same things happen. The police department gets bombarded by calls. The place that he harassed, I guess, that's what we put it, the place that he visited gets bombarded by calls because they're upset that they even called the police to begin with. And it's, from what I understand, the few videos that I've watched, they haven't, it's just open-ended threats. They're just trying to scare him, basically. But
Has he ever put their names? That I know he puts the police department's names up, but has he ever put, like, the libraries he's went to and stuff? Has he ever put their names up?
From the video I saw, he put up an elderly lady's name. Apparently she was, I don't know how the hierarchy goes. Whatever's right under the director. I'm not sure what that would be, what the term would be in your library.
It's assistant director.
Okay. Well, she was there, and you can watch the videos with it. She was there, and they were having an argument online, basically, and he forwarded it because she called the police, but he put her name right there. But as far as I know, nothing happened to him. It's director to it. A lot of phone calls, a lot of harassment, a lot of stuff like that, but as far as I know, no physical action. I can double check again, make sure, but again, it's, you don't want to ever gamble on safety. So if you feel like you're truly threatened, feel free to do a report. We can look into it a little further. We're not technically allowed to look into anything unless you file a report. So just keep that in mind. If you want us to pursue it and look into it, just let us know and we can do that. But it's one of those things, in my opinion. He's looking for YouTube hits, and he's one of those police guys. Y'all just have to butt in there, sadly. So. Do you have any other questions?
No, I guess I'll just, whoever I need to see to file the report.
Okay. All right. Do you have your ID on you?
I have to write my phone.
Oh, that's good. All right. Anything else? You don't need it right now. We'll go out there and I'll get your last name for it. Anything else as far as that day? So just to recap everything, I really, really hope this will be the last time. Should be the last time for sure you speak to the police about it. He came in. Oh, that's right. What did you say when you said stuff on the first floor? What were you referencing? Stuff you said you didn't know about till after.
So Emily was at the info desk, and she said that when he came in, she also tried to engage with him and say hi, and he wouldn't acknowledge her either, which that would have thrown off red flags already if I'd have knew that too, but he didn't. And then Miss Francis, which is my other coworker, she said that she was in the not the break room, the tech services department, which if you've ever been in the library, you walk in through the lobby, and then there's an opening and a wall, and right there on the other side of the wall is the info desk, but then there's like a little hallway, and there's a door directly at the end of that where you can turn and you can go into tech services. Well, what he did was, she was in there, but the door was open to tech services, she said, and he was walking towards the door, but she was far enough, about 10 feet away, and he stopped, and he just looked at her, and then he turned and went the other way. But and that does say employees only on that door, but he made her feel like he was going to come in too.
I see. That's interesting. So she was under the impression that if he didn't see her, he would just went in.
Mm-hmm.
I got you. Again, I think he was trying to, again, egg it all on, encourage you to call the police. You're just going to do whatever you had to do to get the police called on. So, again, just because you called, I don't feel bad.
I did after when they took him out. It hit me at that point. And I told my director when I called her after that happened, I said, he's been in here before. I can't tell you what year it was. It could have been 2 years ago. It could have been a year ago. It could have been 3 years ago. I'm not good with time with the pandemic. But I do know that he's been in there before. So, and I said, when I found out what his name was, we went back to our patron problems, things like that, incident reports to see if we could find anything. But we couldn't. But I said, I know his face. He's been in here before. And then, of course, one of my other coworkers who's been there a while too, she said that she just remembered him coming in, and they was worried about him bringing in those bags and stuff. And then I said, well, that's what it is. He didn't do anything that time. And so we didn't, even though he brought those bags in, I remember my other coworker, Teresa, was concerned about him coming in with those bags. And he was just using the computer at the time. I said, well, he's not doing anything and he's not breaking a rule. But he has been here before. But then he said he hadn't.
Interesting.
But he's been here before. But I can't say when. And then, of course, one of the other coworkers that's been there, when she saw his face, she immediately said, oh, he's been here before, like, because we were concerned before, but he didn't push us to that point to where. But when I called, I had not recognized him at that point. I didn't recognize him until he was leaving out, and that's when because he was talking at that point and saying things out loud to the police officers, asking them what crime, and his voice and everything, it registered to me at that point.
I got you. Well, I'm sure he does a lot of homework when he does on the video. He has to sound educated on the video, so I'm sure he does a lot of prep work.
Well, and that may have been it. That may be why he came in on a Saturday. Like, it could have been last year that he was here, and he just went through to see how things were.
Probably so. Probably mark it down and plan his quote-unquote, his attack, his come-through, get his video set up. It's no coincidence that he had all his stuff set up right before, so. It's all a big bait and trap. But again, feel free to do the report and we'll look into it and contact you. I'll try to get my high-tech guy on it.
Okay.
Alright, thank you very much. Get you out of here and get you to start on forward. So I'll try back when it's Saturday, so.
Okay.